The essence of strategic planning is threefold: plan, embolden, and guide. First, plan your strategic advantage. More specifically, strategically plan the efficient exploitation of your current strategic advantage and the effective exploration of the next ones. Second, embolden your firm. Give it confidence in its own capacity to fulfill its strategic purpose by validating the strategic, operational, and financial feasibility of your strategy. And third, guide your strategy execution by accurately translating your strategy into a clear roadmap of initiatives, bridging strategy definition and implementation. This is the triple promise of strategic planning. Unfortunately, this core essence is rarely fulfilled. And advising on strategic planning at C-level for global companies following a 4-year corporate level strategic planning experience, I've been on both sides of two stories consistently repeating themselves and sounding like heavy confirmations of this unrealized potential of strategic planning. The first story is a dissatisfaction story, with an overwhelming 67 to 80% of C-level and senior executives expressing profound dissatisfaction with strategic planning and experiencing the process as static, time-consuming, bureaucratic, and even in some instances as a spreadsheet technocracy, where financial updates in Excel prevail over key strategic conversations and business-oriented decisions. And from numerous discussions with top-level executives beyond advisory and across industries, there's unfortunately a very large consensus on the low value-added perceptions when it comes to strategic planning. Such a frustration story inevitably leads to the second one, which is an abdication story on the strategic dimension of the process, leaving the outcomes of strategic planning resembling much more a financial extrapolation of the past rather than a truly insightful strategic projection into the future. And in the course of my strategy advisory work, 75% of my client companies engaged in strategic planning activities did perfectly fit this dissatisfaction and abdication story description, despite the tremendous investment those companies had been devoting to the strategic planning process. Now, putting in perspective such a high investment with such an unfulfilled potential raises three important how-to questions. First question: how to make strategic planning truly strategic beyond the financial extrapolation of the past. Second question: how to unlock the strategy from your strategic planning. And third question: how to lead the process to ensure your strategy lifespan extends beyond the boardroom and the corner office and create a real momentum of positive energy within your company. Obviously, these three questions are critical, not to say life-defining, because they directly relate to the strategic destiny of your company. And these three questions all converge to one single answer. And that answer is achieving strategic planning excellence. Now, in the course of my client advisory work, but also through research and publications, I've identified 10 keys of strategic planning excellence across 3 dimensions. More precisely, making strategic planning excellence truly strategic and a potential source of strategic advantage, be it competitive or cooperative, rests on the combined excellence of the strategic, the operational, and the functional dimensions of strategic planning. And it all starts with strategic excellence, which refers to the foundational excellence of the strategy making process of the firm, i.e., the 4 critical strategic activities of your company: strategic thinking, planning, implementing, and monitoring, which only but stresses the criticality to consider strategic planning excellence in wider context of the strategic continuum of the firm. Now, when it comes to the operational and functional excellence of strategic planning, one may easily consider them both sides of the same coin. I call them the hard and the soft side of the strategic planning equation, where operational excellence, the hard side of the equation, addresses key items of process excellence, such as resource allocation to the highest value-added activities. Whereas functional excellence, the soft side of the equation, addresses 2 critical success factors of human excellence. Namely, first, leadership and governance, and second, the skills and capabilities of the strategic planning workforce driving the process on a daily basis. Now, as you can imagine, achieving that level of excellence does neither happen overnight, nor is a result of a coincidence. It truly is a result of an intentional, substantial transformation investment. But an investment that can make the difference between belonging to the top 2% executives expressing great confidence in the strategic capacity of their company to achieve its strategic objectives, and a process that leaves virtually every stakeholder frustrated. So, at this stage, the story would be incomplete if I brought up the investment without mirroring the return one might expect from embracing such a high-level, high-stake transformation journey. So, in the light of my client advisory work, I'm going to share with you some of the key benefits enjoyed by successful strategic planning transformers. Operational excellence typically leads to a 20 to 30% process efficiency improvement, as well as a doubling to a 5x multiplication of time and resources allocated to the highest value-added analytical activities. All this supported by very clear strategic planning timelines aligned with both industry dynamics and company developments. Functional excellence typically translates into 2 dimensions of human excellence. Firstly, a clear and effective leadership and governance structure across strategy and finance. And secondly, an upskilling of the strategic planning workforce across strategy, finance, and operations, with a direct impact on the quality of the analysis work, which I've just mentioned as one of the key post-transformation results of operational excellence. And finally, strategic excellence typically translates into higher quality strategic conversations among all stakeholders, with a direct impact on executive sense of confidence in the strategic capacity of their company to fulfill its strategic agenda. My final thought of the day. I trust that this new light, this new perspective on the essence, the dimensions, and the outcomes of strategic planning excellence will inspire you, not only to move away from abdication, but also, and more importantly, to pave the way for successful transformation, allowing you and your firm to realize the core essence and true purpose of strategic planning. In other words, I trust that the opportunity of strategic planning excellence will inspire you to set up or develop further a strategic planning that is truly strategic. A strategic planning that is your fast lane to your strategic advantage, that instills self-confidence in the strategic capacity of your company, and that serves as a North Star for your strategy implementation. Ultimately, I trust that this redefined version of a strategic planning function will inspire you and enable you to lead a more strategic company that meets its strategic destiny. I see you in the next episode.